Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Expiry. And this is a science fiction film. It's a small key science fiction film with the idea that this couple in a society where you're matched up and you're expected to procreate, and if you don't, then you're forced to find somebody else to keep humanity going. It's not quite as crazy and surreal as, say, The Lobster, but it has the same basic premise, minus people turning into animals, but it has that idea. And what happens is they realize you have Jamie and Sophia, played by Richard Matthias and Sarah Louise Tyler, and they get to the point where they're incompatible, and they get these bracelets that make them magnetically repulsed to each other, so they can't even touch each other, but they love each other. And you go on this hour and 25-minute drama with them trying to find a way, with Sophia trying to find a way she could still be with him, and Jamie finding a way to get over her, and they have different perspectives and they keep going to the same robotic counselor therapist who's trying to get them through. And these scenes are very interesting as this computer's asking them questions. You get deeper thoughts into the themes and the perspectives of these characters and of the film itself, and the performances are really strong. This film is definitely small budget but big concept, and the cinematography is done pretty well, and this film looks well put together. And Gatley, who is the writer and director, Tom Gatley, has a great idea here and puts this film into motion. It has a solid pacing for the hour and 25 minutes. The story moves, but it does feel a little flabby. Like, they have an idea here, and there's a lot of elements to make it work and to stretch this out to feature length. But you do get those scenes with this HAL 9000-esque looking black monolithic therapist computer. In these scenes, trying to get them to understand things, they're getting pulled in different directions. They have a lot of commentary on relationships and love and marriage, and those things work in this film. This film isn't something that, like, the performances aren't, like, here. The style isn't extraordinary or outside of the box. It's just really well put together and well realized. It's crisp, the cinematography is great, but there's definitely some points in terms of logic to propel this story forward. There's one particular scene with like a shootout on a bridge, and it ends so abruptly and just conveniently that it just took me out of the film at that moment. It does have moments like that. Not everything in the story in terms of plot-wise is always firing on logic and really makes sense. Sometimes the story takes a cheap way out to keep moving forward, and it doesn't feel like you get that huge of like a climax, but it kind of just reaches to a point. There's a decent amount of build, but it gets there and you're just like, yay for them. And the concepts and the ideas that were set up were strong enough to make you get from start to finish, but this isn't a film that's going to blow you away. I never felt extremely emotionally attached to this couple, so that made it a little bit harder too. You feel a little bit of distance, and it makes it hard for you to build this connection where you care so much about them figuring it out, or you feel so bad that Jamie's trying to move on. And you involve these different people. There's quite a few characters that are there in the film, but they don't feel as well fleshed out or interesting as Jamie and Sophia. So in the end, it feels a little bloated in terms of some of the extra things they throw in to make this feature length. But in general, this has a strong concept. It's well put together, and Gatley does a fine job of directing and pulling these solid performances from its cast to deliver a decently satisfying sci-fi experience with a little bit of romantic elements as well. But those are my thoughts on Expiry. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.